But to the others, what I would say is have a good mug of bromide-laden naffy tea and do a bit of thinking. Hi, I went through Toni Bugle's video, response to Mr. Graham Thompson's diatribe of lies, in which he flambéed my fragile ego. Only time will tell if I ever recover from the psychological scars. But I didn't notice her say anything about a lie I was supposed to have told, let alone a diatribe of them. What I did notice, though, was her help expose a massive whopper of her own. Part of our conversation in her Facebook phone call to me was her asking me if I thought she was far right, and she seemed pretty happy when I said no. But when I said that I used to, she went pretty quiet. Her explanation for the Mirror report that she had invited the far right to a Maria's rally in a video she broadcast was what I said was, I don't care if you're Britain First, English Defence League or the National Front. I don't want you there. But the Mirror chopped the last bit off. Now it was my turn to go pretty quiet, because I was certain she'd given me a completely different explanation to me by email a few years before. But because of the otherwise excellent work she does helping Muslim women with Marias, and she's vouched for by some excellent Christians, I decided to make out I'd swallowed that dubious explanation that she'd given me. And then a couple of days later, she made it abundantly clear that she didn't want to keep the far right away from the Veterans Against Terrorism Newcastle rally. Before we look at that very different explanation she gave in her email a few years ago, let's remind ourselves what the word for what the Daily Mirror quoted her verbatim from her video a few years back. On April 11th, between 12:30 and 1, Downing Street, Maria's. Be there. I don't care what you are. I don't care if you're Britain First. I don't care if you're English Defence League. I don't even care if you're National Front. This is how she explained that away to me by email in 2015. Now, in order to get people to do things the right way, then you must lead by example. So my words, I do not care if you are EDL, BNP, Britain First. If you come to a Maria's event, then come as an individual, independent person in your own right. My reason for this is quite simple. We have to give those who feel they have nowhere left to turn somewhere to go, and a way of doing it the right way. Now, some people might find that a plausible explanation, but it's very different to what she told me on the phone. And I mean, there's no way I can prove what she told me on the phone because I didn't record the conversation. However, albeit in a reworded way, in her video she confirmed what she said in that conversation.
That doesn't make me far right, which is what you're now claiming. You then said to me Well, you invited the National Front. I did used to think you were far right, and I said, no. If you're going to quote me, please quote me correctly. And I have made numerous accounts. I've made videos explaining exactly what I said. What I said was, I don't care what you are. BNP, National Front, EDL makes no difference. If my views are not views you share, this is not the place for you to be. And when I say
Also in those emails to me a few years ago, she said she'd never been on an EDL demonstration. You just have to have a quick Google for her old Twitters to see that Toni Bugle likes lying. I also found this little bit from Red Pill Phil to be quite illuminating.
All his speeches went over really well. Some powerful words. The Baroness's speech is the one probably stuck out more than most for me. But the Baroness, you know, for me, she can't do wrong. She's a top lady. Just don't get on the wrong side of her, because she becomes more articulate the more mad she gets. I've realised that, which is very strange and very wary.
Now, you've got great men and women in history like Martin Luther King, John F. Kennedy, Winston Churchill, Margaret Thatcher, whose greatest eloquence was inspired by their love of freedom. But it seems that what Red Pill Phil is saying is that Toni Bugle's greatest eloquence is inspired by hate. Although I do have to confess that in her video I didn't see any sign of that heightened eloquence. What I saw was spluttering, patent, devious nonsense. Now, I'm sure that there's veterans out there who would love to give me a good taste of cold steel for what I'm saying about her. A number of them will be far right or far right friendly. But to the others, what I would say is have a good mug of bromide-laden naffy tea and do a bit of thinking. Toni Bugle is not Vera Lynn. If the invitation she gave to the National Front to attend a Maria's rally wasn't the invitation to the National Front, like she says it wasn't, then why has she pulled the video so you can't judge for yourself? She pulled two videos. The video of her saying what the Daily Mirror said she said, and another video of her giving a ridiculous explanation for why she didn't say what she clearly said. But as ridiculous as that explanation was, it's not the out and out lie that she's telling now. Believing that Toni Bugle is not far right is like believing in Father Christmas.
They said there'd be snow at Christmas. They said there'd be peace on earth. Hallelujah, no hell, be it heaven or hell. The Christmas we get, we deserve.